Hello, everyone, and welcome to the last of our little revisits for the time being. It's time to do Mirror's Edge again, a game that I played a long time ago and just felt like doing again because I felt like playing the game again. It's held up pretty well, actually, all things considered, considering it's a mid PS3 360 game, first person parkour game.
Jesus Christ, it's been ages since we did this commentary. That one was like that one was like one of our early ones, wasn't it?
Yes, it was.
Yeah.
It was one of the earliest we did, yes.
If I remember, we had Hayden with us for that commentary.
Yeah, Hayden was with us for that commentary.
It's wow. That it's been ages. Jesus Christ. Okay. So, Mirror's Edge is on the ever-growing list of games that I got for free in a giveaway that have been sitting on my backlog unplayed for a decade. So, well, I say unplayed. I did play some Mirror's Edge on the PlayStation when the game first came out, but I have both Mirror's Edge games on PC by now. So I could theoretically play them at any time. Unfortunately, the idea of doing platforming in first person kind of gives me heartburn. So
Man, that's a response. Like, holy shit.
Look, if I can't see my feet, it doesn't feel right, you know? I have the same problem in Metroid Prime. I just don't like doing platforming when I can't see my feet. Fortunately, most of the time, Metroid Prime doesn't force you to do much complex platforming, so, you know, I can sort of live with it there.
Okay. So this is what I was thinking of. So before we started recording for this commentary, I was certain this game got re-released in some form or fashion. I was curious as to why we're going back to the OG game. What I was thinking of was the 2016 reboot, Catalyst.
Oh, yeah.
Yeah.
I have that, but I don't, I haven't heard great things about it, and I'm not sure, if it was hyperbolic criticism at the time, or if it was a game that deserved the criticism that it got, or if it was just people.
It's very gamey. It's very mission based. It's not very ebb and flow, kind of how this game is.
Oh, okay. So it's the structure that they have issues with.
Maybe the idea was that maybe the ebb and flow of the original game meant folks were getting maybe too lost because there was no structure.
Well, the game highlights everything in a go here, idiot, red. As you
I was gonna say it's like it's pretty clear like where you need to go in this game because like all important objects are highlighted red that you can like parkour off of.
Yeah.
Now here's the thing:
red, blue, yellow.
That commentary we did years ago. I did play this game. I don't remember if I finished it because there is a lot I think I remember from this game. At the same time, I'm drawing a blank on like where the story goes. Like I know the girl we're playing with is betrays us. But outside of that, I am drawing a blank on what Mirror's Edge actually is. But outside of it's anti-capitalistic themes. You know what I mean?
Yeah. Ugh. Do you guys remember Me? Of course you don't. Games like
That's ironic.
Games like this were kind of a dime a dozen around that time. Like, well, not necessarily this style of platformer, but games with this kind of theme going on. It was a pretty popular trope around that time.
Well, I would say that trope never really died, though. Would you say?
Well, I say it's a pretty popular trope relative to like times when it's not in vogue.
Right.
You know? I mean, yeah, there are 1,000,001 games about anti-capitalist themes and stuff like that, but there were like 2,000,001 around the time this came out. Every now and then I think to myself, I should play Remember Me again because that game was interesting, and then I actually pick it up and I realize that the only actually like interesting thing about it was its story, and the gameplay is very vanilla. And that's unfortunate. Ooh,
slipped on that banana. So who keeps putting banana peels in the ledges of these skyscrapers? I have to wonder.
I do appreciate that this is a first-person game where if you look down, you see your legs.
Oh my god, could you imagine if you couldn't? This game would be impossible. Yeah, because I remember like a common critique with Mirror's Edge was that because it was in the first person and it was a platformer on top of that, because that's basically what it is. Like I know like we throw the word parkour a lot, but basically it's just a means of platforming. It was still something that folks couldn't immediately adjust to. And not for nothing, like I agree, because platforming from this kind of angle is kind of scuffed just because of the perspective. It's just one of those you have to get a feel for.
Yeah, well, with Mirror's Edge, part of what you just need to get used to is to get out of the aiming your jumps mentality and into a more 2D Prince of Persia, classic Tomb Raider positioning based mentality.
Yeah.
Where, like, if you're in the right place, the thing you're trying to do will work, you know?
Okay, come on.
High five.
That's not a high five.
That wasn't a high five.
Low five.
I thought she was like crouching down to give you like a short Yugen or some other shit. It's like, eat shit.
I like how she's getting in position to practice, you know, contact sparring.
Now you must deflect bullet.
It's a good thing that none of the actual things physically connect with her model, because she doesn't have the kind of...
Is there an alternate ending where you can answer last?
Remember what I taught you, Faith. Isolate them. Find out.
Boop.
As graceful as a striking dummy.
I do like Mirror's Edge from an ambition standpoint. They're
That's a Three Stooges dope slap.
well, it's in slow motion. That is
Yeah, I know. But, like when you slow it down, it looks silly.
Well, when you slow every combat maneuver down, it looks silly, especially the grapples. Have you ever been to like an MMA gym for their like one free lesson, and they walk you through the rude beginnings of learning how to grapple? Yeah, they always start with learning how to grapple because it's the stuff you can't just pick up in one lesson and then practice on your own. That's where they get you. Anyway, I do like Mirror's Edge from an ambition standpoint, as I was saying. They're doing a lot of interesting stuff in first person that you don't see done often. In fact, the only other game that I can think of off the top of my head from around this time that was trying to do the kind of immersive first-person maneuvering shit that this game pulls off is the unfortunately canceled sequel to Prey.
Well, this was like the tail end of a phase of experimentation that you can argue started with the previous generation before PlayStation 3 and 360. But from EA of all companies. I think, well, it's more DICE. EA published this, but this game was made from DICE.
Yeah, from one of the many, many smaller companies that EA published for and then devoured eventually.
Yeah. Like, I think this was at the very tail end before, like, herder FPS Call of Duty, like, smorgasbords or other AAA franchises that would just seem to take all the limelight from experimentations like this.
Yeah. This is one of the, well, in this case, it's an interesting experiment because a lot of the stuff that they're experimenting with here wouldn't necessarily have been possible to achieve at this level if they weren't doing it on that generation's hardware, at the time next gen hardware.
To this caliber, I think is
Yeah.
probably what we want to say there.
Well, there's a lot of complex movement going on here that I'm not sure would have been easy to pull off on previous generation hardware. And I mean, this game is graphically very simple by design. It's a lot of flat colors to make sure that you can quickly identify what you need to identify in the game environment. But there's also a lot of complex movement going on. So even if the video game's aesthetic is very video gamey, it's immersive from a character movement and action point of view. Like, if you were to imagine a first-person VR game that was predominantly a platformer, you'd be doing a lot of the same kind of shit you do in this game.
Was this game ever released in VR?
No.
No.
Like, even the sequel Catalyst was released too early for that stuff.
2016? You think so?
Yeah.
I think so, yeah. It was like, at that point, when did Resident Evil 5 come out?
5 was 2009.
Resident Evil 7. 7, I mean.
2017.
I don't know why I said 5. 2017. Yeah,
Yeah,
so
5 on the
like,
brain.
so like VR.
You're thinking of Shirtless Wesker.
Yeah, so like VR was still in tech demo mode. People didn't generally own.
Well, I would think like the major VR headset, because VR is like has been a thing. Like the Oculus has been a thing well before then, I think.
Well, yeah, I mean, like VR game design was still in tech demo mode.
Right.
Like Resident Evil 7 was one of the first like full-featured, full-length, really well-developed VR games to come out. Because, you know, developers and publishers are understandably hesitant to put a whole bunch of money into a game for a product that not many people own. Okay, so
if the bullets were red, could you parkour off of them?
Probably, yes. Trailer shot.
I was kind of hoping the helicopter would just slam Faith into the side of the wall. I was like, oh.
now, while the game does use flat colors a lot to make sure that the player understands what they're doing, I appreciate that it weaves it into the setting's aesthetic so that, you know, it does actually feel like part of the world you're in.
Yeah, because there's like, outside of like an artistic design choice, I think there's an in-game reason as to why everything is so white.
I think it's also just a visual element that they decided on to go along with their themes.
Yeah.
The place looks very, like, sterile.
Yeah. And that's important. Like that's in service to the theme, as you said.
Yeah, it's oppressively sterile is the thing.
Yeah. But the
And-
cutscenes are like cel-shaded, sort of stylized.
Yeah. In contrast, your character has this very loud punk appearance to her. So it's like the world around you is all like super colorless and lifeless, you know?
What has man done?
Like an office full of cubicles in which everyone is wearing the same suit over and over, copy-pasted as far as the eye can see.
Everyone's got the same desk, the same computer, the same corner.
Even though Faith's, like, character design still adheres to, like, the color scheme of the game, it's also very, like, she has tattoos. She has, like, the one red fingerless glove on her hand. She's non-conformist, basically.
Merc. You off? Just get on comms and track me.
Why does she always go up that way? Just take the fucking stairs.
What stairs?
Yeah, you're probably right. That's why rent's so cheap. No one actually live here. Then Faith shows us like, fuck.
Almost there.
Why is the time written like that? 5:21 a.m.
It's my sister.
5.21? Oh.
No, I
Yeah.
think it was a colon.
No, I only saw a singular dot.
I've seen time written that way in places, but like it's rare. It's just like an alternate version of denoting time, sort of like how other countries order their months, days, and weeks and dates differently than we do. Ugh.
We.
What's just funny is like there was a prequel to this game released for mobile devices that was just also called Mirror's Edge.
Oh, really?
Yeah, they did that a lot in the early days of mobile gaming. Woo. To be honest, I would actually really like a VR version of Mirror's Edge. I think it would be a pretty goddamn impressive way to use the system. But if they did it, they'd have to have you controlling your hands, and the game would be 10 times more difficult because you'd have to actually like reach out and grab things with good timing.
Yeah, but think how many relatives and cats you can smack around by not knowing where you're going.
Oh, man. Avian flu, here to stay. Oh, man, do you remember that?
Avian flu.
Yeah.
I remember swine flu.
Well, hang
I
on.
was like, what animal are we gonna name this disease after this time? Not for nothing, but I'm kind of pulling for the tapeworm.
Okay, so the avian flu was...
I mean, isn't that just another term for the bird flu?
Well, yeah, the bird flu.
Yeah.
It's still around.
Yeah,
actually.
I was gonna say, I was like, I don't think it actually went anywhere.
Kate?
I was gonna make some remark about like what was going on around the time this game happened, but like when I searched avian flu, what I got was recent articles.
Did Sephiroth do this?
We hadn't talked much since I joined up. He had a break-in last week. He's still a campaigner.
No, Faye's sister is going to be framed for the murder of a mayor candidate.
It's advertising.
Oh no.
So the break-in must have really spooked him then. That's what I thought, but it was odd. He told me about the break-in, asked me to come, then asked after you. Really?
Also, Faye's sister is a cop.
Anyway, he was alive.
So family drama.
Just sitting at his desk, writing. Everything
Ah.
when I came to,
Why are you so rebellious, Faith?
and I'm pretty sure
I
it was
think
my gun.
Infamous Second Son sort of semi-ripped off this plot point because I think your brother in that game is also a cop, but you're like the parkour jumping superhero vigilante.
Run. I'm not like you. Running will just make me look guilty. You think this was an accident, Kate? There are no accidents in this city. Someone wanted him dead and wanted
Not even
him
traffic
to
accidents?
fall.
Everything is deliberate.
There's got to be more to this. Something he knew. Something he wanted to tell me. I can't get involved in this, Kate. You know what I do. I just can't.
I really don't want to lose that penthouse.
I'll see what I can do. If this goes down badly,
Anyway, I'm gonna take this
find
evidence.
Miller, my superior. Take anything you find to him.
I'm serious, Faith. Remember, they're not playing nice. Get out of there.
Now go.
I like how she's like, I can't get involved in this, and then 2 seconds later she's like, shucks, I can't say no
I'll
to
get
you.
involved in this.
Okay. Wait, what?
Shit.
What was that?
Wait,
That
everything's green. What do I do?
There's nothing red.
What is a gameplay mechanic where at some point or another, like the best thing to get is just a can of red spray paint? You could make anything red and you just interact with it no matter how much it defies logic. Just run a strip on the wall. You can just run up walls now.
One of the things you might notice about how this game presents itself is that when it has an odd color, it's usually off on one side of the wall to help direct you around the level. So like here, there's a lot of green, but it's always on your right-hand side.
Give you an idea of where you should direct the character.
Except here, where it's on the left for no reason.
Wait, never mind. I got trying to compliment this game, but now it's confusing me.
Now it's all on the left. The point is, though, it's generally kept to one side of you, rather than the whole area just being a flat color.
I wonder if the other colors like have a significance in the story. Maybe that's what they were going for. You know, because like red is the ultimate end all be all, most important color because it's the one that you interact with. But as we'll see in the game, like sometimes like the walls we paint green, we paint orange. It could be just their way of like explaining. No, this is level 2. This is level 3. But I also wonder if there was intent behind it as well, besides it just being like a mood ring. Like what is green usually associated with? Envy, right?
Maybe. This is the capitalist headquarters.
Right.
And as we all know, everyone who criticizes late-stage capitalism is really just jealous that they didn't get rich instead.
Well, I do have a lot of bills to pay. I could always use more money.
All right, well,
The orange coloring is meant to highlight Faith's love of Tank.
She's an Evangelion fan.
Yeah. Oh, no, not that tag. The actual tag.
No, it's actually part of her philosophical, existential, like, thought process. She sees the entire post late stage capitalism world as inevitably doomed to dissolve into Tang,
Yeah.
both metaphorically and literally.
Yeah. I mean, it's also just like capitalism too. It's like this game also elicits a very anti-authoritarian sort of vibe too, and that's kind of like the conundrum here, like that we're just dealing with, is that Faith's sister is a cop.
Oops.
It's like I can't get involved despite your being family because I can't be associated with what you do because it goes against everything that I believe in.
All right.
Also, I really don't want to lose that penthouse because if I help you, they're gonna stick the ninjas on me. That they know where I live now.
Who paints an entire metal fire escape staircase blue?
Apple does.
Well, I mean, have you ever seen a metal grating that's been painted? It's one of those.
All right, so yes, because the side of my one of my older houses that I had a fire escape on the left, and that was painted black.
All right, well, you know what I'm talking about then. Those kind of metal surfaces are horrible for retaining paint.
Yeah.
It scratches off if you breathe at it funny.
Well, but a fire escape also shouldn't be used that much too. It's like it's only for emergencies.
Well, yeah, I know, but it still gets rained on and shit. It's not gonna retain that paint.
No, I mean it's waterproofing.
Well, I mean, the metal can be waterproofed. The paint, not so much.
I think there's waterproof paint.
Well, there's water-resistant paint. But
Yeah.
it's still reliant.
Let me
on
look it up.
It's still reliant on the relationship between the paint and the surface you paint it on. So, you know. Right. This is the PS3 you're recording off of, right?
Yep.
Right. Okay. So this would be a good time to remind everyone that the PS3 was absolutely fucking terrible at disc reading, and it was partly because it was an early generation Blu-ray reader, but in the end, the amount of data games required grew faster than disc read speeds could keep up with. So eventually, all consoles today settle on the same exact solution the PlayStation 3 eventually implemented for all of its games, which is installing the game on the fucking hard drive instead of reading it off the disc. The funny thing about that is it just turned consoles into PCs, because PC gaming had been doing that shit for years. It's just a whole lot easier to install the game on your PC's hard drive than to constantly switch discs.
Yeah, the CD just acting as a means of getting that data onto your drive.
Yeah. And PCs jumped on the not every computer is going to have a CD drive trend a lot earlier than consoles did, so having an install all the data option in every game was just really helpful for PC rigs that had either no disk drive or a substandard slow reading one.
The issue with that, though, is that completely foregoing the CD in question, and that's exactly the point behind like the digital only versions of the consoles, which I think are to this day are still not the most popular iteration of the console, even though it's very clear they're trying to just ebb away physical CDs completely. At some point, I give it 2 more generations, personally speaking, before like the disk drive is a thing of the past.
Well, now consoles just do the same thing PCs have been doing, which is to use the disc to confirm that you own the game.
Yeah, essentially acts as a key.
Yeah. Although sometimes that leads to really awkward things. Like my old PS4, before I traded it away, it had this weird oddity where sometimes the disc tray wouldn't work, and it would stop working at really random ass times. And for some reason, the PS4 periodically checks the disc tray to make sure that the disc is still in it. to give you permission to keep running the game, which is fucking stupid.
Yeah, it's really
But-
stupid.
But like, because my PS4's disc tray was kind of borked, sometimes it would kick me out of the game in the middle. So yeah, I'm not really sure why that happened, but it probably contributed to my preference for digital games.
I don't like this timeline.